So, what a glorious day it is today. Fantastic day to be buying a brand new camera. I say brand new, it's not very brand new at all. It's very brand used. £250, $330. I got this camera in an evidence bag. Let me show you what it is once I stop driving. Yes, couldn't wait. I mean, they put it in a see-through bag, for Christ's sake. What do you expect? I had to stop off in a random car park in the middle of nowhere and unravel this beauty. That's probably the first time I've ever said that sentence. But yes, what camera do I have? Well, let me tell you this. I saw this thing listed for £250 and I knew right away that I had to get it. I had to drive as fast as the speed limit could allow me to and pick this up before somebody else could. But what can £250 get you today? Well, Canon EOS R5 battery, 2 of them, or an EOS R control ring adapter. Well, I didn't get either of those, but what did £250 get me? Well, it got me something with a full-frame sensor, it got me something with a Canon badge, and it is one of the most important digital cameras ever. It's an absolute legend. The Canon 5D Mark II. This thing wasn't just a game changer, it got bored of the old one, set fire to it and created a whole new game. The 5D Mark II meant a lot to many because it was one of the first DSLRs that opened up a world of creative video possibilities. I say one of the first because the first digital SLR to do that was actually a D90. But nobody remembers that. Well, maybe you might remember this D90. It's got a full-frame sensor, it's got 1080p HD video recording, it's got Canon color signs. That is a formidable formula right there. So formidable, they didn't really improve on that much, right up until the day that I left Digital Rev TV 8 years later. Well, at least these days Canon doesn't make a World Cup length wait for another new camera. They've got 8K now, which would make the HD video from this look a little bit mushy, but you know, this 5D Mark II is still a scorcher of a camera. Let's not forget that this 14-year-old camera is still a fantastic stills camera at just £250. Yes, it does have a big flippy flappy mirror that makes an almighty noise, but I like them loud. It feels like something is actually happening when you press that button, and the images happen to be more than sufficiently sharp by modern day standards. It's just that modern day trends would deem this body too bloated and big. If you're minuscule with muscle and you're worrying about the weight of this camera, then, well, there's nothing to worry about because it really isn't all that heavy, especially when you put a prime lens like this on. There are some lighter mirrorless lens options, but sometimes when you compare similar lenses, the lighter weight of the mirrorless body is balanced out with a heavier, bigger lens. In my opinion, it feels more stable, better balanced when the weight and mass is more towards the body. And the grip, well, you just can't beat a grip like this. They don't make grips like they used to, eh? And one thing I absolutely love are the dials. Not only do they feel great, but they sound pretty damn awesome. I mean, that sound right there, better than the sound on some Omega bezels. A very simple pleasure, but a very simple camera. There really isn't much to it considering this is a hybrid camera where it takes stills and video. Just check out the menu system. But if you go to the first menu, what have you got? You can change from RAW to JPEG and back. Again, beep on or off. Look, for a still shooter, it's got pretty much all you need in a nice, simple, easy to use interface. And Canon were doing that ages ago. Sony. Sounds like somebody needs a PCR test. Anyway, these things are built like tanks. Just watch this. So you could just whip the camera out, in and out, whip it. It's probably whipped out now. It just goes to show you. Properly tough. Unplanned. So there we go. Top tips. Don't keep whipping something in and out. Either have it in or out. Otherwise that happens. One day it will fall off. Oh dear. So yeah. I like it even more now. The great thing is you don't need to baby this thing. It's a tool. Lets you focus on doing the photo bit, not worrying about scratching the damn thing.
This one has taken a mere 21,000 shots, which makes it practically new. Shutter life is 150,000, maybe more.
But even the tech within this camera, it's a 14-year-old camera, isn't all that bad. Sure, it's not OMG, but it certainly isn't OAP. It's got a smidgen over 20 megapixels, which is plenty of pixel power for peeps to be looking at your pics online.
21 megapixels is not an inadequate amount of megapixels. 24 megapixels is quite standard even today. It's still more than enough pixels to play with so long as you don't crop much. The AF system, however, might not be enough for modern standards, which I'll get to right after this sponsored message.
Even if photography is a hobby for you, you can make money from your photos, not just your photos, your video files and your vector files as well, by using wire stock. All you have to do is simply upload your photo and they get distributed to all the major marketplaces. All that is done from one single free account, and the royalty rates are higher than usual, and all wire stock takes is 15% only when your photo sells. So why not give it a try?
Yeah, so this is the autofocusing test. I thought I was going to do it outside, but it's babysitting day today. So I'm doing it at home with the kids' toys. Right, here we go. Now for this test, the Lego train, I never thought I'd be saying this, is going round and round the circuit. As soon as the train comes round the corner and lines up dead center in the middle of the frame, because I'm using the center AF point, I'll hit the button to focus and shoot to see how quick it is to react to something that suddenly just appears in the frame. It's not moving very fast, to be honest, but it is very close range. So let's see. The 5D2 has 9 AF points in a diamond formation, pretty much in the center of the frame. I'm using just the center AF point, which is what I mostly used anyway. It's the only cross-type point. Testing the focusing going from infinity to the subject that suddenly appears on the center AF point, the 5D2 just lags a little behind. Not atrociously so, but although the latest Sony AF system isn't completely in focus either, it is a lot closer to the mark. And for continuous focus, AI focus, yeah, nobody bothered using it anyway, is a no-go with tracking the subject, losing focus quite quickly, whereas AI servo puts in a decent performance of sticking to a subject. Again, it doesn't track as accurately as modern day Sony AF, but this camera is ancient and is a fraction of its cost. You can still take great shots, even with the most rudimentary of focusing systems, if you learn how to make use of it.
Right, so I have a slight confession to make. This bit was not shot on the same day as that bit just then, because the audio messed up that day. Somehow the Billingham video is fine, but the audio on the 5D bit didn't get any. So, shooting it again. Anyway, here we are again. Same clothes, same place, and the 5D Mark II. Now, even though it's sunnier today, it is colder. It's super cold, and I've decided to wear the same clothes as the other day to make the footage blend in, even though I've just ruined the magic by telling you they were shot on different days. But anyway, I'm freezing my nips off. TMI, autofocusing system. If that's too old for you, why not go the other way and use manual focus lenses? Because the 5D Mark II is a great camera for that. Yes, indeed. Forget mirrorless if you want to mount legacy SLR glass. Canon is the way, because the Canon EF mount is one of the shorter flange distances compared to other SLRs. It's got a flange distance of 44mm. The Pentax K and M42 mount is 45.46. Contax is 45.5. Then you've got M system, which is 46mm. Nikon 46.5, and then Leica R 47mm. So any of those that I just mentioned, you can put on the Canon, thanks to an adapter. Now, you're probably thinking, why not Canon manual focus lenses? Why other brands? Well, pre-EOS, there was the FD mount, but that is a shorter flange distance, so therefore we can't mount that on the EOS system. But another thing that makes the 5D Mark II great for manual focus lenses is that if you look inside here, there's a little notch here, right there. It has user replaceable focusing screens, so you can swap this one out for one that's a bit better for manual focusing, or you can use something like focusing-screens.com, hashtag not an ad, and get a split level focusing screen and then slot that right in. You can't do that with the 5D Mark III because they took away that user replaceable focusing screen. So yes, in my humble opinion, this right here is probably the best DSLR. Not only just the best DSLR, probably the best digital camera for mounting old SLR lenses. Because if you mount on mirrorless, you get this kind of long metal tube in between the lens and the body, which looks, quite frankly, ugly and stupid. But of course, one thing is you don't get peaking mode. You got live view mode, but if you want the full experience, then use the viewfinder, because that's kind of the whole point of a DSLR. Unless you're shooting video, then you use live view. There's really not many settings for video. Now you get like loads of frame rate options, loads of resolution options. Because it's getting to a point where those high continuous burst rates are essentially high resolution video. But really, if you're just looking at stills, this really is still a fantastic camera. This could be a great first camera, your only camera, perhaps the only camera you ever need, as long as all you're interested in is photography. This is perfect. It's perfectly priced. Spend less on the body, spend more on great glass. But even better, spend more on having an interesting life, because that is ultimately how you take interesting photos. But the thing is, as consumers, we get sucked into that. We think that we need higher resolution video and faster frame rates because the marketing people told us we need it. But really, if you just want to take some nice photos, you don't need a fancy camera. £250 camera, that'll do.